We got a question for you. In fact, I think we should fire up the RIOT hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
For the question, what is a skill that becomes less impressive as you get older?
Pretty much any skill that you had before the age of 18, I think, would be a skill that would not seem very impressive as an adult.
See, that's how you're thinking about it. Stuff that you can do like when you learn to do it as a kid, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Is what you're thinking?
That's what came to mind at first.
See, because I was also thinking of things that as you get older, everybody just knows how to do. Not as in stuff that you would learn as an adult, but just like if an old person can do it, you're like, well, that's just what old people do. You know what I mean?
Like cooking.
Yeah, maybe cooking.
That could be one. Like you would just expect an adult to be able to cook.
Yeah.
Like when you ask your mother or father to make you a meal, you're not surprised when it's good.
Yeah.
You're like,
but
that
that's
makes
not
sense.
like a kid thing.
What do you mean a kid thing?
But because the other thing you could think is like stuff that only would be impressive to children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think like if someone like my age is a really good cook, I think it's impressive.
Yeah.
Because I'm like I make my own food every day. Am I especially a good cook? No, I'm okay. I make edible things for myself. But at the same time, if you're like a stellar chef, I'm like, that's pretty impressive for my age. If you're 45 years old and a stellar chef, I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Adds up.
That's a good one. The other one that jumped to mind for me on this before we start taking texts was typing.
Typing, you're right.
Yeah, because if you're 60 and you know how to type, I feel like everybody 60 probably knows how to type unless they're like a mechanic. But if you're 20 and you know how to type, that's actually impressive to me. You know
really?
what I mean?
I almost think it's opposite.
If you're 15 and you know how to type, that's real. Like,
I think it's really impressive. Like if an older person knows how to type really well, because like why wouldn't I know how to type? I grew up on like computers. If you're 50 years old, you learned to type on a computer when you were like 30.
Everybody had to take typing classes though.
Yeah, but I feel like now it's just so
and now
mainstream.
It's all touch screens.
It's like if you know how to do computer skills now.
15.
Like if you're 20 years old and you know how to use social media, holy moly.
Yeah.
If you have that on your resume, so does everybody else.
I don't know. All right. Well, let's see what's. We've got a few that we thought of initially, but what do you think? Skills that get less impressive as you get older. 877-2-RADIO-U.
Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
What are some skills that get less impressive as you get older? We're getting some good texts in here. Some of the ideas that we already came up with. Cooking was one of them. I thought typing, although Isaiah disagrees, so does Max. I think that just to go back to the typing, I just feel like everybody older than me knows how to type, and I feel like less and less people my age and younger are going to know how to type because of touch screens. That's just how I view that. But other good texts coming in, like Brad, who says how much you can drink.
Yeah, as you get older, that just means you might be an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
That's what that means, right?
I mean, yeah, but I guess when I picture it, though, I picture like somebody college age, right? I don't know if I expect them, but if you can drink a lot in college, wow, so can a lot of people. But if you're like, again, I just picture that, like if you're 60, 70, and you can just go all night, that is kind of actually impressive in a way.
I think the difference is you're not going to be bragging about it. Like, who are you going to tell about it? Your grandkids?
Yeah,
hey, son, this is my 14th. If you were wondering, I guess I'm 10 deep, buddy.
I don't know if it gets less impressive, but it gets more sad.
Yeah.
It gets more sad, for sure. But that was, what I was thinking was seeing some of these texts is that it feels like a lot of stuff is kind of like on a bell curve. You know what I mean? In other words, where if it's impressive when you're a child, then as you like going through adult years, not impressive. And then again gets impressive when you get old. Like,
that's true.
Like hanging upside down on monkey bars or something.
Yep.
Like
all of a sudden you're back.
When you're 7, that's impressive. 23, not as much.
Not cool.
70.
Cool again.
Cool again. You got any ideas?
Yeah, I got a couple. The first one I thought of, how about this one? Looking old for your age.
That's right.
When you're like young, there's nothing cooler. Like when you're in high school, there's nothing cooler than looking old. When you're 18, there's nothing cooler than looking old.
Yeah.
And then once you get to like 25,
yeah,
it's no longer cool. It now is a bad thing.
Yeah.
You're at 50, it's a bad thing. 60, bad thing. There's no bell curve there.
Definitely not. Yeah, that
was
just gets
one.
that gets continually drops off a cliff as you continue to get older.
How about this one? This one is cracking me up. How about the guitar? Like when you're like 13 years old, if you can like riff anything, like it's impressive. Like you're like that dude.
Yeah.
But if you're like 30 and you're trying to play the guitar, you better be like God level. If you
to
don't
just
want
bust it out.
you better, because if you're not God level at 30 playing the guitar, then you're just like annoying. That's how it is. Like that's how it goes. You better be really good or in the process of taking classes or something if you're gonna whip your guitar out.
Yeah.
But at 13 years old, if you could get 3 notes in a row, you were like that dude.
Yeah.
You were him.
How about, this is a good one from Alex. Being able to use the potty all by yourself.
Well, come on. We're not
Again,
doing that.
a bell curve.
Bell curve.
Yeah.
That's never. Over the age of 20, that's never. That's 20. What am I talking about? Over the age of like 5, that's never gets impressive again.
What about, there's just so many simple ones that when you're like a little tiny child.
When you're just a little boy?
Yeah, when you can, I can count. People will be impressed if you're 2 years old and you can count. But after 2, as you get older, people have become less and less impressed that you can count.
Well, yes, obviously.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Do you want to do spelling next? Do you want to touch on that or
right,
no?
A little too obvious.
How about this one? How about any kind of tongue trick? When you were like in 3rd grade, if you could like make a cauliflower with your tongue, that was cool. You know the only one that's so cool is
the clover.
if you can tie a knot with your tongue.
The cherry.
That's
cherry
still cool. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
If you're 40 years old and you can do that, I still think that's cool.
That actually kind of feels like a grandma type of
does.
trick.
But if you can do if you can rotate your tongue or do something weird, once you're past like 10, that's not cool. But if you can tie that cherry in a knot, I don't care how old you are, that's a cool trick.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.